Welcome to Angry Appliance Repair Person. For the record, you're looking at him. This presentation, I admit I get a little passionate. This is where the angry word of my name comes from. I will try to keep my anger to a minimum about this particular subject, because lots of homeowners get very upset when I try to explain to them how to make a washing machine clean your clothes. When we were wee little tots, we were allowed to use more water and more power. And since we could use more water and more power, we could get better results out of our especially top-load washer. But a front-load washer is affected by this too. So I will try to explain without getting too angry when I start talking about how to use properly as we, as servicemen, are taught in the schools. So, top-load washers, some of them have agitators, some of them do not. Now, the ones that have agitators, they must fill with more water, because the agitator, if it doesn't have enough water in it, it would rip your clothes. So, the companies are forced to use more water when there's an agitator. But don't believe that most of the new washing machines do not have a switch that says low, medium, high, super. Those days are gone. Most of the machines, there's no switch. The computer decides how much water is in there based on weight for the most part. So the more weight that is in there, the more water it may fill with. So when you do a load in a top load washer, make sure that you distribute the clothes well, which means if you put the towel on the right, put the towel on the left. If you put the shirt on the right, put the shirt on the left. Try to keep it as balanced as possible when you are trying to do a load. Then hopefully the machine will fill with enough water to get the clothes submerged in the water, and that way it will work. Okay, with an agitator, as the picture shows here, you will basically be able to get more water because the agitator needs more water to be able to do its thing. But even with an agitator, I highly doubt that your machine will fill to the top. Some of the newer machines will have what's called a deep fill. Don't let that think to you that if you push that button, that the machine will fill all the way to the top. That may not be true. The deep fill may only add extra water, not all the way to the top, because the government may not allow it depending on the size of the basket. So, but it will help if you have that feature to select it to get more water. Also, with a top load washer, it will help if you have a fabric softener switch. Now, just because you don't use fabric softener doesn't mean you shouldn't have the switch on. Turn the switch on, fabric softener. That will make the machine fill with water, move the agitator to activate in rinse. If you do not do that, if you just put the little switch on one rinse or two rinses or whatever your selections are, then the machine will not fill with water. It will do what's called a spray rinse, where the water will spray in, but it will not actually run the cone. So make sure that if you have a fabric softener switch, use it. Don't care if you're using fabric softener or not. And if you are filling the machine, use the deep fill button. Some machines I have seen will fill to the top, others will not. It depends on the water and depends on the government's rating. Some salespeople that know what they're talking about may be able to help you. But as I always say, you can educate yourself by going to the manufacturer's website. It will tell you what that machine and how it performs. Okay, loading these machines is very important. When you have an agitator, you still put the clothes around the agitator as you always have. But be careful. If you pretend looking down at the machine, if it is a clock, 12, 3, 6, 9, you can pretend that you put a piece of clothing like a sweatshirt between 12 and 6. Then you put let's say a towel between 12, 9 and 6 and load it that way coming up to make sure that the machine will stay balanced when it agitates. Now, when you don't have an agitator and you have the little propeller plate at the bottom, that's a little different. We are taught that you are supposed to, and I am repeating, this is not from me, you are supposed to ball the clothes. So you take that shirt, you take that sweatshirt, you take that towel, and you ball it, and you drop it at 12 o'clock, and then drop another piece at 3, and drop another piece at 6, and drop another piece at 9. And you continue this until you get to the top rim of the tub and you stop. Now, the problem is, when you are done loading it, you must be able to see the center medallion of that little impeller. The idea of that is the machine only fills with so much water. And when it fills with so much water, that clothes, the gravity, will pull the clothes into the middle to get them wet. If you do not have that center medallion open, you will have a problem trying to get all the laundry wet. A lot of my homeowners, they tell me that they load their machine, but it never gets wet. The clothes stay dry. The bottom ones are wet, but the top ones are not. That means the gravity could not pull the clothes in because there was too much in there. So, when you load the ones without the agitator, make sure that you can see the center medallion when you're finished. That way the clothes can fall in the middle, hit the water, and hopefully, cross your fingers, that the machine will actually try to do some cleaning. So hopefully you will get a cleaning, or a better cleaning I should say, with that machine. What are you saying, smartest man in the house? You're interrupting me. Yes, I know. I am getting a little upset. I'm hitting my belly. I shouldn't be doing that, but I'm trying to keep my temper in check. What? What do you mean? 24 hours of Le Mans? I mean, I can't fit in one of those cars. What does Le Mans have anything to... Oh, you're talking about the breathing exercises. Oh, you're talking about Le Mans, where the pregnant women go for breathing. Shh, shh, shh. Oh, well, I mean, yes, you could say that I might fit into that topic a little bit, because I never fit this body in one of those little race cars. But yes, I can try to breathe a little bit more and try to stay calm, because as I said, I get very passionate about this subject. I apologize to anyone who thinks I am losing my composure when I'm talking about this, but I think the shh, 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 that's a little bit too much, smartest man in the house. I don't think I can do that, but I keep it in mind. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get back to the topic at hand. So, the way that the top loaders work, when you load them that way, the gravity will pull the clothes in the middle. Remember, you're using a little bit of water, so you use a little bit of soap. You do not use a lot of soap in these new machines because the water is so small. You're using smaller water amount, you use smaller soap amount. Plus, soap is concentrated. Look at the bottle. 2 times the power, 3 times the power. I've even seen them be 4 times the power. So if that's true, you use less soap. If you have 4 times the concentration, then you need to use less soap of that than you would use of regular strength soap, because it's 4 times the concentration than regular soap. Please keep that in mind. Soap, powder or liquid, doesn't really matter too much. I admit, the tablets are okay, but you must have a decent water to get the tablet to dissolve completely. I can't tell you how many of those tablet skins that I have pulled out of drain pumps because their water's too hard. So I admit, if you have very hard water, it is very difficult to get clothes clean. That's true. But I still believe you stick with liquid or powder in that situation. The nice thing about concentrated liquid is it's stronger, so it may work better in hotter water situations for you to get your clothes cleaner. The tablets are just one dose, and sometimes that may not be enough. So I would recommend sticking with liquid soap or powder, either one, and hopefully you will get good results even without the agitator. But because we use less water and we use less power, stains like blood, grass, mud, they don't come out. They don't come out. I mean, when I was a wee little tot, my mother would just throw the stuff in the laundry and it'd be done. Those days are gone. So if you took notice, a lot of stuff on television, we have a lot of commercials now about treatments, spray treatments that you spray onto blood, grass, mud that might be on your shirt, and you have to pre-treat a stain. I'm afraid if you do not pre-treat a stain, it ain't coming out. Whether it's in a top load or a front load, it ain't happening. So you need to pre-treat. If you pre-treat, you have a much better chance at getting that stain out. We just don't use enough water and enough power in these machines to be able to get that stain removed without help. And if you noticed, if you're old, born in the 60s like me, there were not that many treatments out there back then. But today, there's hundreds of them all over the place because the companies know that you need spray treatment to be able to get these machines to clean and take out stains. Top loaders love to be empty. If you overfill a top loader, it cannot move the clothes around correctly, and it's almost just as good as soaking it in a tub. You have to leave enough space for the agitator to do its job, whether it's a cone or it's a patella. You must leave enough room. Front loaders are different. Front loaders love to be full. They hate to be empty. We are told that a front loader should be about 85% full all the time. So that means when you're doing laundry, in your mind, picture a king-size comforter, and that's what you should put in your front loader every time. The equivalent to a queen or king-size comforter to make sure you have enough in there. Front loaders rub against each other. The clothes rub against each other to create friction to get the soap to work. In a top loader, it has the agitator to do that, and in some aspects it's got the little propeller plate. But in a front loader, there is none of that. You just have this kind of motion. So, to make the soap work, you need to have the machine full. The fuller the machine is on a front load, the better it washes and the better it spins. So, they don't like to be empty. Do not buy a machine that your neighbor or your mother works for her. You must buy the washer based on what you need. So, with that being said, if you own the machine, if you have a top load, you must leave room for the clothes to move. If you have a front load, you want to have it fuller so the clothes rub against each other and do the job that they are supposed to do. The soap quality does matter, but not as important as the water. The water is more important than that. So, see how the water and soap mixes? You could always try a higher concentration if you have harder water. See what happens. Don't be afraid to experiment with soap. Experimenting with soap till you find the one you like to use. Don't always have to buy the same brand. Okay, features on the washers are basically you buy the features that you think you need, as I have said in previous presentations. So the bottom line is, with the washing machines, loading the top loader, especially when you have an impeller, is very important to get it to work. And not overstuffing it is very important. On a front load, you want it to be full, so it balances itself and the clothes rub against each other to get clean. So it depends on which kind you have for how you load it. They do not load the same. You load them differently if you have an agitator versus if you do not have an agitator. Keep that in mind. Use and care guides are always helpful, but that is the thing that I have found to be the most. Okay, for the senile thought this week, I'm going back to my fairy tale that I have done in previous presentations about the elephant and the donkey. In the middle, we are representing my mother in this situation because my mother is the one who taught me what I am about to say next. When I was a wee little tot, my mother always said to me 3 words: claim your opinion. Always. You cannot assume that your opinion is always the opinion of the one you are discussing with. Claim your opinion. So, if you are talking on a certain subject, like what washer to buy, a top load or a front load, one person might say, I want a front load, top loads are junk. The other person might say, no. Top loads are much better than front loads. And then gets into fisticuffs. Well, we don't want that. Claim your opinion. So as you hear me talk, I will say, my opinion is this. You may not agree with it. That's okay. But I'm claiming my opinion till you understand it is not fact. It is an opinion. When it's a factual thing, double check, look on the internet, see if I'm right or wrong. I have no problem with that. But when it's my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion. My mother used to get very upset when I would say that this is the way it has to be. And she would say, no. It's your opinion that's the way it has to be. Claim your opinion. If the elephants and the donkeys, elephants are on the right, donkeys are on the left, if they would be claiming their opinion in some of the discussions that they have along with their spokespeople, I think things would go much better between them, because they would be claiming their opinion and letting people know, this is what I think. This is not fact. This is my opinion. So my mother would not be happy with the way elephants and donkeys communicate with each other, because you never know what the heck is an opinion and what the heck is fact. You just have to listen and decide for yourself. I think that's wrong. I think when the elephants and the donkeys are communicating with each other and their spokespeople, I think they need to claim their opinion, so we know when we are trying to watch a discussion between these two, we know that it is an opinion that they're throwing around, not a fact that they're throwing around. My mother would not be happy with the way that people do not claim their opinions in discussions that most people have today. Thank you for spending some of your day with us.